What is up, guys? Dzeeff here, and today Konami sent me the new Structure Deck Spirit Charmers. Now, I know this already released in Europe, I think like a month ago, but we're just getting it here in North America, so it's pretty cool, and I wanted to open it for you guys in today's video. Now, one interesting thing about this is that there's actually a lot of like variant cards in here. So you get one alternate artwork of one of the familiar possessed cards, and then also you get a token card that is randomly inserted into each Structure Deck, which is kind of unique because it means that whenever you open a Structure Deck Spirit Charmers, you're always pulling like something a little bit different, kind of interesting as far as Structure Decks go. Now, obviously, the big story with this is what's missing. I know people are disappointed about no evenly matched in here, and I understand that, but it does still have some pretty good reprints that I want to go over in today's video. I also heard the little mat here is always different as well. I'm not sure if that's true. I thought that's what I read, but it looks like that's what we have for this one. Actually, I have it upside down. Who knows what I'm doing? We have Structure Deck Spirit Charmers, and on the back here gives you a little strategy guide. It goes over, oh yeah, there we go. So we got 5 different mats, 5 different possible tokens, plus 1 of 4 familiar possessed alternate artworks. We got some, this is kind of cool. That's kind of weird. Instead of like a lot of advertisements, the only advertisement we have looks to be for Rise of the Duelist. Usually they show like a lot more packs and products to buy, but this time they have filled the other half of the deluxe mat, or the back of the deluxe mat I should say, with like artwork and behind the scenes stuff. That's kind of interesting. I don't know if we've seen that before in a Structure Deck, but I will say I saw that John was from House of Champs was talking about that Charmers in the TCG don't have as big of a following as they do in the OSG, and I'd like to know your guys' thoughts on that. The Starlight Charmer Link monsters, those ones are pretty valuable, and I think that shows that at least people do care about the Charmers in some way, but I'm not sure if it has as big of a following as it does in the OCG. Let's take a look at our token here. So I think that is, I believe that is the same token that we got for the map, but I would have to take a look. No, I'm pretty sure it is. And then we have Familiar Possessed Era for the alternate artwork one there, so that's pretty nice. You can special summon this card from your hand or deck by sending one face up Era, the Water Charmer, and one face up Water monster you control to the graveyard. If this card special summoned by its own effect attacks a defense position monster, inflict piercing battle damage. That's just kind of crazy because the original versions of these cards, I mean, the text was like so tiny, and now it doesn't even take up the entire box there. So problem solving card text has saved the day once again. We also have, let's take a look here, we have Awakening of the Possessed. This is the Nefariouser Archfiend. That's a funny name. That's one of the cards in there. It's an ultra rare. We also have a Greater Anari Fire, which is pretty cool. The previous 2 Awakening of the Possessed cards were already released. They were released as secret rare preview cards not too long ago, but also recently as commons in Phantom Rage. We also have Grand Spiritual Art. That is a new field spell for the deck. Negate your opponent's first monster effect that resolves each turn while you control a spellcaster monster with 1500 defense. During your main phase, you can reveal 1 spellcaster from your hand, and if you do, add 1 monster with the same attribute but with 1500 attack and 200 defense from your deck to your hand, and if you do that, shuffle the revealed card into the deck. You can only use this effect of Grand Spiritual Art once per turn. So that's the new field spell. We also have Spirit Charmers, which is obviously what the Structure Deck is named after. Discard 1 card, take 2 cards from your deck with different names from each other that are Charmer monsters, familiar possessed monsters, and or possessed spell/traps. Add 1 of them to your hand and set the other. You can only activate 1 Spirit Charmers per turn. This is one of the more important cards for this deck. If you're looking to play a Charmer deck, it's very, very good. Oh, Rageki's is super interesting. So Regeki is a reprint in the set. I thought it was a common though. It's pretty interesting. Man, super Regeki, but with like the new foiling. Pretty interesting. Regeki's obviously had a lot of printings. It's currently limited. Maybe someday we'll see this card at 3 copies per deck, right alongside Dark Hole. We have Possessed Partnerships for the Trap card, a new super rare. Special summon 1 spellcaster monster with 1500 defense from your hand or graveyard in attack position or face down defense position, which would be used with like the Charmer cards because they have flip effects. Then if you control monsters with 2 or more different attributes, you can destroy 1 face-up card on the field. You can banish this card from your graveyard, then target 1 possessed continuous spell/trap in your graveyard, place it face up on your field. You can only use 1 possessed partnerships effect per turn and only once that turn. So that is the last of the new holographic cards. So we have some of the old Charmers here, all 4 of them, so you can see that. And yeah, these are the cards that you would want to set because they do have those flip effects for targeting monsters and taking control of them, which then lets you use your familiar possessed monster effects right from your deck. The next 4 cards are their little partners, and they're like half stage, I think. So these cards have been printed over the years for a long time. They have a pretty big following, like I said, maybe not so much in the TCG, but definitely in the OCG, and we've gotten so many versions of them. These are like the individual versions, which is like the downgraded version of these the new cards here, the awakening of the possessed monsters. These are like the before stage. I'm not entirely sure about the timeline, but something like that. And then we have Fairy Tale Sleeper and Metaverse, Fairy Tale Rila, Fairy Tale Luna. Not sure why the Metaverse was randomly in there. Maybe that was taking Fairy Tale Snow's spot. But yeah, Fairy Tale Snow is obviously banned, so we just get the 3 in here. Not so sure about these 2, but Luna has actually seen play in a variety of decks and a variety of control decks. Kind of a fun card, so that's kind of cool. We have Witchcrafter Golem, so that's kind of nice. It's like a spellcaster support card. Dark Dorado, Witch of the Black Forest, Effect Veiler, that's a pretty cool reprint, and Denko Sekka, which is not necessarily super related to this deck, but I guess if you wanted to lock down your opponent's back row, that is one way to do it. We also have Awakening of the Possessed, a continuous spell card. Monsters you control gain 300 attack for each different attribute you control. Charmer and familiar possessed monsters you control cannot be destroyed by card effects. If a spellcaster monster or monsters with 1850 original attack is normal or special summoned to your field, draw 1 card. So it gives you a little bit of card advantage there. Secret Village of the Spellcasters, that brings me back to Altergeist versus Sky Strikers. You would play this card and hopefully just win the game right there. Spellbook of Knowledge, pretty cool spellbook card for drawing cards. Terraforming for that Secret Village or the new field spell. Book of Eclipse, not so much seen play right now, but it has seen play in the past. Pretty cool way to dodge a lot of like anti-destruction or anti-targeting effects. You just flip all of your opponent's cards face down. Twin Twisters, great to see this card in here. Not as popular as it once was, but if you are a budget player, Twin Twisters is still a good option if you can't afford a Lightning Storm. Dark Ruler No More is one of the bigger reprints, if not the biggest reprints in this structure deck. Yes, we don't have evenly matched, but this is a pretty cool reprint. This is actually the very first reprint of this card. Nibiru now has 2 reprints, but this is the first reprint for Dark Ruler No More since the 2019 Megatons, where it was initially released. That's pretty cool for budget players. Looks pretty crazy as a common. I'm so used to seeing it as that parallel secret rare or whatever they call it. We have Unpossessed, not a new card, but still pretty cool. Spiritual Earth Art, and then I guess, yeah, Spiritual Water Art, Spiritual Fire Art, and Spiritual Wind Art. I can't say too much about these ones. I will say Spiritual Water Art did see play way back in the day in some water decks like Frogs and occasionally even Mermails, which is pretty crazy to think about. Dimensional Barrier, which is looking to be pretty good right now. I've seen some people running this card against Virtual World because you can just lock them out of the turn a lot of the time, which is pretty nice. Pretty cool reprint. And Solemn Warning, not newly at 3 copies per deck, but sort of recently at 3 copies per deck. It's been the way for a couple formats now, but if you don't have your playset, this would be a place to pick it up. And then we have the remaining cards, I think, are all the familiar possessed cards. Yep, okay, so they still give you all 4 of them in the one structure deck. I wasn't sure if because they give you like one ultra rare version, if they would still give you that as a common, but I guess they do. So that's the last 4 cards in the deck. We got some advertisements here, a little Phantom Rage, whatever. That's pretty funny. What is this one? This is just for, oh, Legacy of the Duelist. Okay, so we have Duel Links, Legacy of the Duelist, and Phantom Rage for the little advertisements in the structure deck. Anyway, that's all for today's video. Please let me know in the comment section below how you feel about Spirit Charmers. Have you tried making a deck with the new cards? Have you been a fan of the archetype for a while? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Anyway, I'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.